I'm back for Dust2Dust's ongoing coverage of I Am Clone 2023, and I'm here with neaLaN coming off of GamerLegion's opening match against Monte. So I wanted to ask you first, what do you think went wrong in the match against Monte in your debut with GamerLegion?
I think we're still a new team. We didn't get a lot of the time to practice, but in the same way, it's not the excuse. Of course, we played bad. We didn't play in the practice. So I think the first match is always hard for the new team. So we're looking forward to recover.
And I wanted to ask you sort of about how you wound up on GamerLegion. After leaving Evil Geniuses, you ended up back on another international speaking roster, whereas previously, before Evil Geniuses, you were solely on CIS, presumably Russian speaking rosters. What prompted you to decide to keep being an IGL of an English speaking team?
I mean, that wasn't. I'm speaking both languages
pretty
good, so I don't too much care about what languages I want to in what team I want to play. Of course, CS probably will be more easier, but I think I'm fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I also wanted to ask you, how much input did you have into this GamerLegion roster? Were you just slotted in as IGL, or do you have any decision-making power over who wound up in the five-man lineup?
I think when I joined the team, the roster was already ready, I would say, and I think I'm the last guy who joined the team.
I also wanted to ask you, because it did seem like for a while before joining GamerLegion that you would be a part of this Evil Geniuses European roster that had names like Jax, Electronic, all those floated. From your perspective, what went wrong to make that roster not form?
I actually also would like to know what happened, but I don't know actually.
Did it seem like a realistic possibility that team was going to form? Were you guys preparing for that to be something that was going to happen?
I think EG already Valence or EG already confirmed that the rumors were right about the roster, but something went wrong at the end, and yeah, it is what it is.
With that in mind, it marked sort of the underwhelming conclusion to your time with Evil Geniuses, and I kind of wanted to ask about sort of your time with that organization. Mm-hmm. As the IGL of the squad, how much input did you have over roster changes? Because we did see quite a few roster changes during your time with Evil Geniuses. How much input did you have?
Not a lot.
So when you say not a lot, does that mean that they would bring, for example, when they brought Refresh in, did you have any say over that?
Yeah, I said my word. Yeah, I said my word.
Which the word would be? The word was?
Would be nice to play with him.
Very nice. He is a nice player, and it seems like he'll be moving on soon from Evil Geniuses onto a new Danish team. When we talked to Vorborg recently, or rather HLTV talked to Vorborg recently, he said that from the start he felt like the Evil Geniuses roster didn't make sense, the composition. Was that a common sentiment in the team, and how do you sort of feel about the roster as it was assembled?
As I know, the EG wants. I don't know. I felt like our roster was pretty good. It's just the first season we got Hex, who was a young player from NA, and he came from Tier 2 NA, and it's different than Tier 2 EU, And of course, we will need even more. He needs even more experience, and Serk was struggling back in the days, and I think everyone was coming back a little bit while we qualified for the major. It's we were really close to getting out from the EPL group. I think it's a pretty good results with the new IGL, with the young player and people who was struggling last year, So I don't know. I feel roster was pretty good.
And but unfortunately, despite that, the results weren't there. What do you think was the biggest aspect that made things not ultimately click before the roster dissolved?
I think that was a lot of the reasons, but I think we just everyone just I think we made sometimes we did some of the bad decisions in the EG, and that's happened.
And with that reality of Evil Geniuses failing to meet expectations, there's been a lot of discussion, especially from the public and pundits, about the management over at Evil Geniuses. Do you feel you're adequately supported during your time with the organization?
I wasn't talking too much with the management, but I was most recently talking with the Valence, and I would say Valence is a really good guy, and he knows his job.
Mm-hmm. So moving into the future, we're looking towards GamerLegion have dropped their first match. How do you feel about the how do you feel about the overall state of the roster? Like, is this a project you're really excited to work with in terms of the pieces in play?
Yeah, I think I'm really excited to work with this roster, and we just need to find the balance in our game, and I think everything will be good.
And despite obviously having attended majors prior to your time with Evil Geniuses and during your time with Evil Geniuses, I would say you're not in the top tier, like top one echelon of IGLs based on trophies and such. But so I wanted to ask you, how does it feel to have someone like Kerrigan, someone who's accomplished basically everything? He has said somewhat recently, that he's copied some of your strats from Overpass. As an IGL who probably looks up to that top tier of IGLs, how does that feel to know someone like Kerrigan's copying your strats?
Is Korean copying our strats?
He's copying some of your Overpass strats, apparently, like some of your Overpass defaults.
I didn't know that, but it's nice to hear. I mean, I would say it's really hard to say about some IGLs, is because some stuff can happen in the roster and you will never know. So I think you should talk with the IGL before to judge him.
And now, heading into your next match, what's the main goal? What's the main thing you guys are going to prioritize in your preparation? What's the one biggest issue you saw that needs to be fixed before your next match?
We just need to play like we are playing in our practice, so we can see how we're gonna fix a mistake and keeping going forward.
All right, thank you so much for your time. We'll see you guys in action tomorrow.